Keep your radio dial right here. You're locked into the hottest news station on the planet. Hot 702.5 in FM sound. Blazing today's hip-hop, R&B, and pop music. Keeping your radio on fire. Bringing you the hottest, realest, riskiest talk shows live 24/7 on hot7025fm.com.
This portion of What's the LGBT is brought to you in part.
Yo, it's Tavon Greatness Patterson. Want to listen to Hot 702.5 on the go? Download the Hot 702.5 app on the Apple Store or Google Play Store if you got an Android like me.
Let's get it.
All the stars are right here.
This is Beyonce.
Yo, what's going on, man? This is Drizzy Drake.
It's DJ Khaled, the Dawn Dada.
You're tuned in to Risky Radio.
This is Norman J. Liverpool IV from What's the...
Keep your radio dial right here. You're locked into the hottest news station on the planet. Hot 702.5 in FM sound. Blazing today's hip-hop, R&B, and pop music. Keeping your radio on fire. Bringing you the hottest, realest, riskiest talk shows live 24/7 on hot7025fm.com.
Jones, hey, Greg Deville was at it, man, hey. If you want the real, holla at Greg Deville, he'll tell you how to do it. Now get to it. If you want the real, listen to Greg Deville, he'll tell you how to do it. Now get to it. I'm talking real estate, building wealth, making money for your family and yourself. Now tune in, we here to help. Now tune in, we here to help. You wanna be a broker, you wanna be broke. You wanna be the joker, you wanna be the joker. You gotta bring more to the table than your hope, dreams, and wishing. I can feed you fish or I can take you out fishing. I can show you the vision, addition and division, mathematic equation. Make the money flip like an acrobatic, amazing. Greg Deville help you build the foundation, I'm saying. If you want the real, holla at Greg Deville, he'll tell you how to do it. Now get to it. If you want the real, listen to Greg Deville, he'll tell you how to do it. Now get to it. I'm talking real estate, building wealth, making money for your family and yourself. Now tune in, we here to help. Now tune in, we here to help.
All right, good afternoon, Las Vegas. Greg Deville back in the air chair. Got more information. Let's talk some real estate this afternoon. We want to go in and talk about interest rates. They are on the rise. Things are increasing 0.41% since last week, according to money.com. We want to make sure that we are staying on top of where the industry is right now. For many of you, you've been paying rent way too long. So we want to make sure that I'm letting you know right now, you missed the boat when the property was really reasonable. Interest rates were fair, right? Now interest rates are skyrocketing. And so what are you going to do from here? Now, I want to encourage many of you to go ahead moving forward and getting into property. So we still have grant program funding available for those of you that need to qualify. We need to get you set up. You need to contact the office 702-515-4100. Contact Team Deville. We want to get you set up, get you going, so that if you're not ready now, you'll have what I like to call a game plan, right? That means a strategy into preparing to get into homeownership. Now, don't be, hardened because you're in a lease. Trust me, we have seen many that are in a lease still able to purchase a home. When you're pre-approved and you talk to your management company, oftentimes that window of opportunity, they will allow you to get out of the lease. They may keep the security deposit, but hey, I'm giving you $25,000, right? So the security deposit, the down payment will make up for the security deposit and the fact that you're owning your own home and not paying someone's rent once again, right? 702-515-4100, or you can text 702-787-7559. Rental increases. There are no regulations on the increase amount. There are, again, no regulations on the amount of the increase a landlord can do. Just got wind of a landlord say he's going up $50 at the duration of the lease for the next tenant. Now, is there any No, there is no one regulating at this time. However, we expect them to. I've heard a couple of commissioners looking to change that because landlords going up $200 and $300 just because a lease expired, and God forbid you don't go into a lease with them, they want to go up $400. And so I've gotten phone calls from those who've gotten rental increases, and it's unbearable because they didn't have that in the budget, right? Based on what their living expenses are right now. So there is an increase. There are no regulations, once again, on the increase amount. Now, the advantage to owning versus renting is where there's no regulation on the amount of increase. When you own a home, you're fixed for 30 years. You're going to get a fixed rate, no more increase, no more adjustables. You're in a fixed rate. That's an advantage for you because when you talk fixed for 30 years, unless you change something like a refinance or you do something like that, of course, taxes go up periodically, right? So if a tax does go up, the increase, here it is, the increase is far less than what a landlord would possibly do. Okay, so we want to talk about the interest rates increasing per the Feds, per money.com again, 0.41%, since last week. So things have changed recently, and we are expecting, per the Feds, an additional increase before year end. So as we are increasing, I want you to be in a position nonetheless to get into your own home. Now, I was doing the math with a gentleman, and so hypothetically, let's talk about the interest rates. Let's just use, for an example, it's a little higher than 6%, but let's use 6%. Well, just know, got approved at 6%, at $400,000, right? Texted me this morning. Hey, Deville, I got my approval, it's $400,000. I say, well, FYI, the way the rates are, just talking 6%, you're looking at $2,400 a month for a purchase price of $400,000. You multiply that 400 times your interest rate, right? So you're talking about $2,400. That's just mortgage, and then you're talking about tax and insurance. So how do I want to encourage you today? Is let's say you're at the $400,000 mark, but that payment is more than you want to be. You may have to go down to a lower buying power, such as $350. Let's say $325. Maybe that'll keep you better at about $1,800 a month. You're having to make up the difference for the interest rate. So buyers are still buying. Don't think that the market is not allowing for buyers to purchase. Oh, absolutely. You're just buying less in value to compensate for the higher rate. And not to mention, we're giving you the money down. Now, I did have to let you know today, or mention to you, those of you that are on your job and you have a 401k, okay? So if you have a 401k, you can own between the 401k and a veteran. If you're a veteran, we appreciate your service. However, your FICO score requirement is a minimal 580. 401k and a VA loans, we have lenders on standby to take your call with the lowest 580 FICO. Now, with that being said, the opportunity to use your 401k on the job without penalty, right? Now, remember, you typically penalize 10% to use your 401k on the job. However, to purchase a home, we've seen no penalties because you're housing it from one house to another. Okay, so more information, again, contact my team or text me, 702-787-7559. Greg Deville, Team Deville, Deville Realty Group. Owning versus renting. Remember, you're in a fixed rate when you own a home, when the rates are adjustable for the tenant. Now, most of the landlords are in a fixed rate, but what would create a landlord to go up $300? Would he buy a car? What he do? Charge up his credit card and having you to pay the bill? I'm not sure what would make them go up $300 or $400. However, their payments are fixed if they didn't pay cash for the unit. Most investors who are using properties as rental typically are cash buyers on investment properties. They use that as income that they can capitalize on from their investment, right? So they get the interest rate off of that, which in turn is the rental. So that's their interest rate, right? So they bought it at $200 and they're renting it to you for $1,800. That's pretty good odds, wouldn't you say? But that's what's happening right now. And those that have owned their homes and they're doing what we call renting those properties out, they're renting it to you. You're paying the mortgage, and sometimes you're putting a little additional in their pocket. That's how they're able to increase, because they go out and get a debt and put it on the back of the tenant, which you are, right? So you kind of understand what makes a landlord go up, right? But keep in mind, when you own that home, there is not a chance of the rate changing because it's a locked fixed rate, okay? First-time buyers, fixed rate. Conventional, fixed rate. Now, unless you're hard money and you're a savvy lender, you're a savvy investor, there are some interest-only loans. However, there are some balloon loans. That's right. Those loans are still available, but to the savvy investor, okay? It's not a norm that someone would do an adjustable rate mortgage, which we call the ARM, right? It's not common, but yet it still goes on. Many investors who buy flip properties will use an interest-only type loan and go in, fix the house, put it back on the market, pay the interest back from the loan on the money, right? So they're just paying the interest, pay the loan, and the balance is theirs. But that's a savvy investor. But those of you that are first-time buyers, or you're purchasing again for the second, maybe third time, your rates are typically fixed rates. They're typically lock rates, okay? So you don't have to deal with that adjustable, because if the market goes up, you're adjusting according to the market. If the market goes down, you're still locked at that rate. However, when the market goes down, in many cases, you can refinance it to a lower rate. And if your credit allows, you can do a cash out refinance. However, there is what we call a HELOC, a home equity line of credit, that many get on their homes for improvements, rainy day fund, just so if in the event you need some funding, it's there available for you per the need. Okay, so, but again, a lot of this is driven by your FICO score. Very important. Your FICO score is very important when it comes to refinancing. Now, the cash out, you can't have one late within 12 months. Now, there may be some lenders who can possibly do twice in 1 year of lates. I have met one lender was able to do it. However, it's not a normal loan. But for more information on that, contact myself, my team, 702-787-7559. Greg Deville, Team Deville, Deville Realty Group. So we talked about the first-time buyer. There's a program that right now is allowing up to $25,000 toward your down payment. $25,000 toward your down payment. You merely have to qualify. I'm glad you asked. What are the qualifications? I got you. 2 years minimum on the job, your tax return for the past 2 years, at least a 620 FICO score. Now, if you meet those criteria that is required, many of you, oftentimes, there is a back-end FICO that they have on there. But again, if you meet those basics, we can show you how to get the rest. You know, your back-end debt ratio, sometimes they'll go up to 48% on the back end. Some lenders only want 38%. But maybe you don't understand that lingo. That's lingo, real estate lingo, lender lingo. Nonetheless, don't hesitate. Contact us today. We want to hear from you. Listen, as we are coming up on a time where it's time to hang up the rental hat, right? It's just time to begin to put yourself in a position. Now, if I may be transparent, back in 2014 and 15, my endeavor was to get back into home ownership. I was in the crash of the market. Things weren't well. Things were tight. But guess what? We were able to get back into the market. But we weren't ready in 14 and 15. We had work to do. But the advantage was we were able to get with the lender, get a game plan. Many of you merely need a game plan. Contact my team. Let's set you with one of our 9 lenders. Find out where you are. What is it you need to do? If it's not, I've had many who call to just see and realize they were in a position of power to purchase. And they didn't know because they didn't inquire. So today, I want you to think about it. It's absolutely free to you to contact a lender, or you can contact your bank, someone to assist in getting where you are in your FICO to know what position you're in. When we talk about the NFL, you want to know what is your position. Stay in your lane. Find your position. Play your position, right? So if the lender says, well, your debt ratio is a little high, how do you fix it? Here you go. I want you to pay down this credit. I have a couple of people now paying down some of their credit card debt, right? Which will reduce some of their FICO score. That's right there. So if the FICO, if you got high ratios, what happens is it'll bring those ratios down. You can afford a bit more buying power. Okay. But again, this is something the lender will give you. I'm just giving you tad bits and pieces of so you understand. My millennials, if you've been on the job at least 2 years, you're above 18 years old, you've got your job. Listen, you can own your own home. You can own a townhome. You can own a condo. But time out from looking into rentals. I know you want to be out of your parents' home. You want to have your own home, and that's commendable. However, maybe you don't afford to purchase a home right now, but you can afford a condo, right? I mean, you go out and rent an apartment anyway. So why not let's get you set up, right? And let's get you in that condo. Now, there are condos with garages. There are condos with carports. It just depends on what your affordability would be. If you can afford it, you can qualify for my first-time homebuyer program. Sometimes you may need a co-signer of a brother, family member, loved one that may have to help co-sign you on there just to kind of guarantee the loan, if you will, because you have possibly no credit, or maybe you'll have a car note, right? So you've established some credit, but you're paying rents to someone's property. Well, time out for paying rent. Listen, I've sold home to millennials young as 21. They were a little family growing. She was pregnant. The husband and her were able to purchase a property. Now, where are you right now when it comes to, let's say, purchasing a property? We can get you in. It doesn't really matter. As long as you're over 18, you can purchase a home. Now, if you've got savings put aside, as I mentioned earlier, or you have a 401k on your job, you can utilize those funds without penalty to purchase. Okay, so let's keep that in mind. It's always better to own because you're creating wealth through equity. Okay, wealth through equity is power. Because what happens down the road is as values increase and your payments, you're paying down the principal, right? So that means you owe less, but you own more. You have more vested in it, right? So now you could do what is called a FICO, or you could do what is called a, wow, okay. So interest, you could do a home line of credit, you can do, you can refinance it with cash out. That's where I'm going. I just had a senior moment, I guess. I don't know. I'm not a senior, but I don't know what age that starts. But nonetheless, something happened right there, right? So, okay, all right. But nonetheless, owning is by far greater than having pay someone else's mortgage. Because keep in mind, the investment or the investor that you are renting from, he bought it with that in mind, right? It's an investment. So maybe you're just starting out. You don't have the money down. Okay, without having the money down can be challenging to purchase. So we have come up with a way, working with several government entities, to help you to qualify to get money down towards your down payment. Some of our program even assist in some of the closing costs. So if that's where you need assistance, let Deville Realty help you right there. 702-787-7559. Greg Deville, Team Deville, Deville Realty Group. Now, the government is saying, look, we'll give you up to $25,000. You will have to qualify for it, as I've mentioned. Also, there's a home buyer education we have been doing for the last 5. This is probably be our 6th year now. This home buyer education is a down payment assistance program. Government is assuring you they'll give you the funds, but you have to complete the home buyer education. This course typically is an 8-hour, 1-day course. Second Saturday of every month we have it. You only got to do one. The certificate that you qualify for at the end of the class is good for up to 1 year. So while you're working on credit, if that's what you've got to do, you're working on your credit. You got your certificate. Now all you've got to do is get where you need to be. As I mentioned, 620 FICO is the minimal. If you're better, that's better. However, the interest rates are a little bit higher through the programs, but that's okay. So is rent higher, right? And they only continue to go up at the term of every lease. There's a new adjusted rate. Not with a mortgage. A mortgage is a fixed rate that every year it stays locked where it is. So my mortgage on my 6-bedroom home is $1,354 a month. It's my mortgage. I'm at a 2.99. I was able to refinance the property from 4.25 to 2.99 and take $80,000, and the payment only went up $100. So where can you borrow $80,000 from your own property, and then it only increases by $100? These are advantages. And guess who's taking advantage of these advantages? Your landlord. So what he does is he goes out, refinance the house, get $100,000. The rate goes down, but the payment may go up a bit. He'll charge it to the tenant, which is you, and you're paying for his convenience while he's in Waikiki, but the rent's being paid, which is what? In turn, covering the mortgage, right? So he's got that new Corvette that he wanted, but on the sweat of your brow, or on your dime, should I say, from you paying that rental, right? So that's how, the wealthy has gotten wealth through real estate, because unless you own the place your bed that you lie down at night is, unless you own it, you're always paying into someone else's investment. The Greg Deville Show was designed to assist families into having their own. It's designed to assist families to be able to know the difference when a landlord is giving you increase for no reason. Know that you don't have to deal with that. We're giving you the funding so you do not have to deal with that. We're making it a creative avenue for you. And so we could put it out, but what are you going to do with it? I can give you information, but what are you going to do with it? I would hope you would assist in contacting my team, 702-787-7559. Greg Deville, Team Deville, Deville Realty Group. Shout out to Team Deville, man. We, in the last 40 days, we closed about 8 homes. Shout out to the team. We're getting it done at Deville. We're listing your home. We can sell your home. Now, those of you, and let me pause here for a moment. Those of you that need to sell your home, you've had your home, but maybe something happened. Maybe you have to sell the home due to pre-foreclosure notice, right? You've gotten behind. Something's happened that has caused you to get behind. Doesn't matter what it is. It's okay. It's fine. But if you have to sell the home, use a trusted professional, a realtor that knows the business. That would be Team Deville. Now, I ask you this because if a bank forecloses on your home, they take any equity that may be there in that home. Because although it's a pre-foreclosure sale, they still sell it based on market value. So someone's looking to purchase foreclosed properties. Well, not all foreclosures are below market value. In fact, most foreclosures are at fair market value. When they sell them, they do an appraisal. And if the appraiser says it's good at $625, he's not going to sell it at $525. Why would the bank leave money on the table? right? But that's your money as the owner whom the bank foreclosed. That's your money that you left on the table. So when those of you that are in trouble with your mortgage, contact my team. We would love to assist you. We can get it up for sale. You don't have to move right away. We can get you after the sale. We can get you anywhere from 14 to 30 days post-sale, right? Means you sell the home, stay an additional 2 weeks, 30 days to, so that you can relocate. Sometimes relocating can be a challenge because remember, you've been behind. Now your credit isn't where it should be. And because landlords today, and it's really tough. It's a crazy market because what landlords want to rent a house is what it costs, is what it's like to purchase a home. Landlords now are looking to have, for you to have 620 to 640 or better FICO. Well, I only need you to have a 580 FICO. So I can get you in a home for less than what a rental costs and give you the money towards the down payment. 702-787-7559. Greg Deville, Deville Realty Group. This is what we do. We help families simplify this process, take the stress out of it so you can go back to resting at night. No one should have to deal with the fear of someone taking their home. We can sell your home, save your equity. Now, if you've gotten letters from the bank, I need you to open that last letter because there may be a sale date in that notice that the bank is planning to sell your home. The next knock on the door may be from a new owner because you fail to prepare to plan for what's to come. Well, unfortunately, a lot of families have gotten foreclosed and those homes have sold at the auction. Don't be one of those who procrastinate and you hear my talk show or you know someone that this information can assist. Ma'am, sir, sis, bro, look, help them out. I've been in the game over 35 years of real estate. Listen, this is my passion. These shows, they don't pay me to come on. I pay to come on here to share information, to empower the community, to give them knowledge on wealth. Because you're giving wealth away, but when you pay rent, you're giving it to someone else. So let me empower you to be the one. If you got to sell the home, a trusted real estate company, Deville Realty Group. Contact my team, myself. We'd love to help you go through it and get you the best price possible. So because it's pre-foreclosure, doesn't mean we're going to sell it below market unless the property is just in not condition for top value. Now, of course, if you bought a home and it's in its original state and you haven't kept the home well, then of course it's going to listen. So appraisers grade property. So let me explain how this works. When an appraiser comes out to your property, they grade the property. If it's dated, you may not get the A, right? Because the A comes to the improvements, the granite counters, the laminate flooring, the new carpeting, the 10-pound padding, the covered patio, the pool in the backyard. These are added costs that increase your value, right? But if you haven't done anything to the home since you purchased it, if it's not in those conditions, now maybe you've purchased a new home and it may be, wonderful. However, if you've owned it over 5 or 6 years, you haven't done any improvements, you still got the original countertop tile, you still got the original carpeting in there and the paint, well, guess what? Your credit won't be as well as for someone who did the upgrades. Now, you want to say, how can I go about getting my upgrades? Well, that's where we talk about the home equity line of credit. I can get you with a lender. You can use your equity in your home to fix up your home, to update your home. But now keep in mind, the industry today, there's a shift in the market. The shift in the market is allowing people, watch this, to have to reduce the home price because the interest rates are going up and a person that was at, let's say, $400,000, that mortgage payment is $2,400 at a 6% interest rate today. So that means they can't afford $2,400, so they'd have to buy for less. So a lot of landlords are reconsidering negotiating the price. Why? To accommodate for the market and the shift that's there. Now, you missed the boat when people were giving you $5,000, $10,000 above appraisal. Okay, you missed that boat. I'm telling you, they were giving that $5,000 and $10,000 above appraisal like 90 going west. And 90 west is a long freeway. right? Or the 10 west. You go 10 south. You know, the 10 in California ends in Florida, right? That same 10. But I'm just saying. So now you've got to deal with it where it's at. Where's the market today? The market today, a little over 6%. Now, don't be frightened. Don't be alarmed. Don't be dismayed about it. Guess what? Still, get into your own property. Maybe you can't afford to buy a $600,000 home right now. Buy a 4.5 and build equity. Keep it 4 or 5 years, right? 4 or 5 years. Guess what? Refinance the house, pull the cap, or sell it. The other alternative, you could sell that same home. Let's say you get $80,000 equity, $120,000 in 5 years. Value goes up to that. Okay, now you have $100,000. Guess what? You can purchase that $600 you've been wanting, and now you put $100 on it, and guess what? You're only financing $500. So there's a ways of creating wealth, and it's through equity. It's through real estate. Because again, as I've always stated, you're creating wealth when you pay rent. You're just doing it for someone else. So if I can put you in the pilot seat, steer your aircraft, make this happen in your life. Give your kids a backyard. Give your family a 2-car garage. Away with all this patio is my backyard and the carport is my parking space. Give you your own driveway, your own covered patio. I'm telling you, the power of home ownership is wonderful. Family events at the home. I mean, you know, you grow up and you live in the same house your kids were little, and they remember that house as they age. And my granddaddy or grandpa, Paw lived here when I was a kid. The history. Now, because you purchase a home today, let's say 5 years down the road, you refinance it. You take $80,000, but keep the home. Keep the home, rent the home out. Now, you've got double the amount of equity. The one you rent and the one you own. Now you've got 2 properties that's doing what? Creating wealth through equity. And then I've got a friend of mine who's got 5 homes, and he's lived in every one of them. And every so often he'd refinance it, buy another home. His wife wanted a new home. He'd go get a brand new home. Just simply using the equity that's in his current home that he resides. And then once he moves out, he rents it to cover the mortgage. And now he's covering the next property. But that's creating generational wealth. How do you do it? Let's start with your first piece of property, right? Remember, your first home may not be your dream home. However, it's your home. And you're creating wealth. How? Through equity. That contact information, 702-787-7559. Greg Deville, Deville Realty Group. I want to give a big shout out to our city and government employees. Those of you that are working government, city jobs, many of you have a 401k on your job. With that, also Republic Services, our nurses, first responders, culinary workers, CCSD employees, bus drivers, hotel maids and services, limousine drivers. Listen, you have programs that are available to accommodate, because at the end of the day, I always say, do you own the place you lie your head at night to get your rest? If you don't own the place, then you need to find out, how can I own, not necessarily that particular, but your particular, something that you would choose to purchase. But your first step is not looking on the internet. It's not going, seeing what's on the market. In fact, my suggestion to you is stay off the internet until you get a pre-approval. Because you're teasing yourself with all these beautiful homes, but you don't know if you qualify. I say you can go to the mall, you can spend $5,000 as long as you window shopping. Because at the end of the day, you get yourself in debt, and then you can't buy it all. You'll forever be a tenant. Always creating wealth for someone else. How can we combat this rental versus ownership market? We can do it by contacting Team Deville. Let's get you where you need to be. Let's get you with the lender. Let's get you set up. If it's not now, let's give you a possible win. I know when I went to the lender back in 2014 and then 15, we're working more diligently on it. She gave me a 90-day. She said, Deville, here's what I want you to do. And within 90 days, follow this game plan. you'll be good. On the 94th day, I kid you not, we were solid. This 6 years ago now. We were able to get 300,000. You could buy, I got a 6-bedroom, 3,000 square foot house, covered patio, 3-car, but you could buy that back then, right? I recently did an appraisal for a refinance. Now it's worth $520. The same home I only owe $260 something on is worth $520. But the advantage is we could take up 80% on when you do a refinance, cash out, you can get up to 80%. The advantages that you have in home ownership, landlords are getting that. Yes, they are. And they are refinancing it. And you're there to pay the mortgage off. But they're sitting here getting that equity that you're paying into, but yet you go to work. So again, city employees, government, city, those of you that work with public services, shout out to the trash man, bro. Can you imagine if the trash man didn't run for a week, how back your trash would be backed up? I appreciate my trash man. I wave at them when they go by. Hey, bro, I appreciate you. Because can you imagine? They used to do twice in a week, but city's gotten so they can only do one day a week now. But man, I missed the trash day one day. I was like, wow. I was out of town. I forgot to take trash out. It was backed up. So, appreciate Republic Service workers, man. You guys that keep our city clean, that do what you do. It's the nurses who are our first responders. If you're a nurse or you know a nurse, works at a hospital, RN or just a CPA, RN, what you got, RN, all the different designation of nurses. Listen, if you don't own a home, you can qualify for my programs. Take my class, get what you need to have your own property. Culinary workers, the CNA. Thank you. My engineer said, let me help this brother. CNAs, we appreciate you. Thank you. RN, CNA, doctors. If you're a doctor and you don't own a home, listen, we have some loans that we can do for doctors, right? We have some bank statement loans available. There's a ton of different loan types that are available. So don't think you don't. And to the entrepreneur, I just sold a property that they went by bank statements only. Didn't need a W-2, bank statements only. That's why entrepreneurs is so valuable that you understand the bank statement. Whatever you put in the bank shows your income. So when you as a barber or a nail tech, what have you, what happens, you need to deposit I don't care if you only made $100 today, and you need to pay something, deposit it first. Because remember, what the lender is going to be looking at are your deposits. What are your deposits like? So if you showed $1 million, then your deposits show your business what it's qualified to do. There's lenders who will lend on bank statements only. So for more information on that, again, 702-787-7559. I'd love to hear from you. My team is on standby to take your call at this time. So Republic Service, my CNA, nurses, city and government officials, bus drivers, CCSD employees. If you don't, Nevada Partners has some funding available. There's culinary that Nevada Partners work closely with. If you work for the hotel services, your culinary unions, you have the opportunity to own a home. Now, maybe it won't be your dream home, as I mentioned before. It's not going to be this big. I know you see yourself with a 3,800 square foot home, 5 bedrooms, pool in the backyard. You can get there, though. You can get. How do you start? By first making the contact with Deville, starting where you afford. If it's only a condo right now, guess what? By God, start with the condo. But as you increase in value and equity, you pay that thing down. It's like paying it off. You have equity in that property. The equity in the property can be used to advance to your next property. But as long as you pay rent, you never advance, because how wealthy can you get working for someone else? You need to have what we like to say multi-stream income. Now, for those of you who you have a home right now, you have equity in your home. How about pulling the equity out, putting it on an investment property, where we could talk about residual income, right? So the residual income will allow for you to have income on top of your income, simply using the equity in your home. Isn't that sweet? Like, what? Say that again. The equity in your home can be used as a down payment toward an investment property that will create residual income that pays for itself. And not only that, but will give you, watch this, a monthly income on top of your income. For more information or to hear that once again, you got to contact me directly, 702-787-7559. Greg Deville, Deville Realty Group. Hey, that's the name you need to know right here in the Valley, Deville Realty Group. So again, as I prepare to recap and close out the show this afternoon, I want to make you know and remember, as interest rates increase and rental rates increase, don't quit trying to get your own home. If you tried in the past and it didn't work, let's do it again. Maybe you didn't get in because so many buyers you outbid it every time. Let's go back, because now these home prices, I just found out today, we have a 4-bedroom home at the office for sale, and they just went from $400 to $390. Now the seller's hungry. They may go down to $385 now, right? But the advantage is you're getting a 4-bedroom home. Was it like Lone Mountain, Simmons area, home built in 2004 or 5, fairly new home, 2-car garage. These properties are coming down in value. I have a home right now, 5-bedroom, pool and jacuzzi, covered patio, wonderful, beautiful home. I've got that at $490. So listen, there's so many properties on the market, but again, your first step to home ownership, guess what? Is let's get you set up with a lender. So once you call 702-787-7559, we're going to take your information and we're going to connect you with a lender. Okay, we just need your phone number. You could text your name and phone number. And the best time to contact you, text that number to 702-787-7559. Once we get with you, set you with a lender, the lender pre-approves you. Now you're ready to go home shopping. So now, once we know, like the gentleman called today, hey, Deville, I got my $400,000. What could I possibly get for it? And so I had to let him know, okay, if you buy at $400 and the rates are at 6, understand the payments are about $2,400 to $2,800 a month. Okay, so keep that in mind. As the interest rates go up, it makes the payment higher. So he then said, well, I don't know if I want to pay 24, but if you want to pay less, you have to buy a less. You feel me? 300 or 350. In fact, what I would advise you to do is get with your lender, and once he pre-approves you, let's say this was 400, but it's 2,400 for the mortgage. Tell the lender where you're most comfortable so that you're not house poor. Where you're most comfortable, getting qualified with on a monthly payment. Then he'll calculate the numbers and give you a rough where you need to stay in order to get that number that you're comfortable. Okay? Again, 702-787-7559. Greg Deville, Team Deville, Deville Realty Group. So whether buying, selling, or investing, Deville Realty can help. I've been in real estate over 35 years in the industry. I buy and flip homes. So if you got an ugly home in your area, if you got a home that you can't seem to catch up and maintain, we do buy ugly homes. We buy homes that are in severe need of improvements. We will purchase that home based on what the improvements will take. Of course, we can't sell or purchase the home for what. Yeah, you get what I'm saying, right? It needs improvements, so it's sold at the improvement price. You can't try to get a home that needs work when a home has been totally remodeled. So I'm asking you, if you want to sell your home, be realistic where the values are today. We're not getting what we were getting before. Home prices are having to come down because the homes are sitting out there longer than normal. So you don't want to have where the homes are sitting out there and now it becomes an old listing, right? Now the listing has been there 6 to 8 months. So people begin to say, well, what's wrong with this house? Well, what's wrong is you're not being realistic with the price. I need you to be realistic with the price. Understand You cannot get 500 for a home in the area that's going for 480. Nobody's willing to pay it above value. Because remember this, when the appraiser does the value, if he appraises that 500, you got it at 500, but he says it's only worth 475, the max the lender's going to pay is that appraisal value. Whatever that appraisal value is, that's the max the lender's going to pay. So keep in mind, you can put a price whatever you want, but once the lender calls an appraiser, the appraisers determine the value is what the lender goes by. So you could say you think it's worth 7. The appraiser said no, it's only worth 550. That's the max the lender's going to give. Now, unless the buyer's willing to pay that additional 25, 30,000 out of pocket, that's on him. The lender says, based on appraisal value, this is the max that we're willing to do. So remember, be realistic. If you contact myself, my team will come by and do a comparative market analysis with you, share with you what we think the values are for your property, being realistic. I know everyone thinks it's worth more. I've done this to the home, and that's great. But the way the market is shifting right now, it's having to reduce the price versus coming up on the price, because if there's a home like yours in your neighborhood that's listed at 620 and you're trying to get 670, the likeliness of someone paying that in that area when it's showing the last thing closed was at 620. So that's going to be a little challenging, okay? Now, unless you have a whole lot to offer that makes an appraiser just give you so much more. But we're at the mercy of the appraisers. So again, we try to be realistic when we look at the price in a comparative market analysis. We do our best to use every comp available within a mile radius, within that zip code, within that school district, that we can use as a comparable to determine the best possible price. The appraiser may come back. Now, he may come back and say, yes, I'll give you that 675. I feel it is worth that. Or worst case, he come back at 620. And 50,000 above what you wanted to get. But again, that's the assessment of the appraiser. Whether you like it or not, you can try to, fight the appraisal. I'm going to tell you right now, most and 89% of the time, in fact, it's probably closer to 96% of the time, the lender went with the lower appraisal. Because appraisers don't typically go against another, well, I think it's, I haven't seen it. And once it happened where, it came in a little bit more, we showed some comparables. But even then, the lender went with the lower appraisal because they want to see more equity in the house, right, which secures more of their loan. So again, 702-787-7559, Greg Deville, Team Deville, Deville Realty Group. Listen, I'm out of time, not out of information. I want to make sure you got my contact information. You can Google Greg Deville, get my contact through there. Go to my website, gregdeville.com. Look me on Facebook, become my friend, my neighbor. Listen, I'd love to be a friend with you on Facebook. Listen, I want to hear from you. Contact me, text me, 702-787-7559. I look forward to talking to you real soon. And if you know this information can assist someone, referrals are valuable. Let me thank you in advance. Veterans, if you're out there, if you know a veteran that's paying rent, please, ma'am, sir, friend, have them contact me. If they're a veteran and they're renting, please have them contact me because they can purchase a home with no money down, with as low as a 580 credit score, and own their own home. Would you do that for us? We appreciate you in advance. Thank you so, so much. If you know someone that's on a job more than 2 years, maybe they work with you, but they don't own a home, tell them we got grant funding available. I just got $1.5 million just in the last 30 days. We've got to use it or lose it. So I'm looking for those individuals who don't own a home, who are first-time buyers. And again, that's someone that has not owned in the last 3 years. You're considered, per the Federal Housing Administration, to be a first-time home buyer. If you know someone that information matches And if you're not sure, just say, look, Deville can get you in a home. I've gotten so many into homes. My team and I, we work diligently to get this done. It's our passion. We love it. We're having fun helping families. And I want to see you create generational wealth for yourself and your family. Is that all right? Listen, I'm out of here. I'll talk to you next week. Until we talk then, may God's best be yours. Take care.
Hey, Greg Deville was at it, man. Hey, if you want the real, holla at Greg Deville. He'll tell you how to do it. Now get to it. If you want the real, listen to Greg.